Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing the YouTube made me buy it video. I've been binge watching all of these videos here on YouTube for like the past few days now. I think they're so fun to watch. Fun fact, but for those of you who do not know, I actually started wearing makeup back in middle school, and the reason that I got into it is because I remember sitting down one day and looking up how to apply eyeliner on YouTube, and I found this girl who was like putting on eyeliner at probably like 8 o'clock at night with her webcam, and ever since seeing that video I was exposed to the beauty community here on YouTube. And for those of you who haven't seen these types of videos, pretty much what we do is we sit down and we share products that we've bought because people have highly pushed for us to go out and get it or like recommend it so much. So we've gone out and spent our own money and bought it just off of YouTube recommendations. So I have plenty of those types of products, and I have a nice array of like older purchases and newer purchases. So I'm excited to share them with you guys. Let me know down below if any of the things I mentioned are things that you have also went out and bought, or other things that you have went out and bought just because of YouTube recommendations. But with that being said, let's jump into it. So this first thing I'm going to share with you guys, it like honestly almost wants to bring me to tears because this was my first ever high-end makeup purchase, and it was all because of YouTube. It's the Urban Decay Naked Palette. I remember being, I think it was 8th grade that I went out and purchased this. And I remember it was on a school trip. I had just gotten like a bunch of birthday money. I was like, I'm going to Ulta and I'm picking this up, and I did. And oh my god, guys, like this right here is probably like how I really got into makeup, is this palette. Like this inspired me to create so many different looks, really go out of my box, do some more smoky looks with these darker colors, and I love this palette. I still use it to this day, not as often, but there are just some really pretty shades in here, and I love this. I think this is, for a lot of people, what has really got them started with makeup, and for me that was the case. I still love it. I love the Naked palettes. This one is still my ultimate favorite, and I bought this because of YouTube. The next thing is also a palette. This is the Lorac Pro Palette, and this to this day is still one of my ultimate like must-have makeup products, just because you can create endless looks with this palette. I think it was super smart that Lorac came out with palettes that have a whole top row of matte and a whole bottom row of shimmer, because you know there are people that prefer mattes and there are people that prefer shimmers. So this palette really has it all. It's very neutral, but there are some pops of color, and there's just very basic looks you can create with this. I love this palette. Whenever I do anyone's makeup, I take this with me, and I really love the pigmentation. They blend really nicely. But that being said, I discovered this palette here on YouTube because everybody and their mother was, you know, saying how amazing it was, and for good reason. I definitely hit pan on a couple of the shadows. I love this palette. It's so good. I still use it to this day. I still recommend it to this day, and I don't remember like exactly who persuaded me to go get these things, but to be honest with you guys, like a lot of these things that I went out and bought, it wasn't really just because one person recommended it, and if it is, I will remember that. But for the most part, like a lot of these things I got because so many people on YouTube recommended it. So this was definitely one of those things, and I still love it and use it to this day. So this next thing, this right here, okay, I want to like tell you guys a little bit backstory. So this is a custom MAC palette that I have created. I actually have even more single shadows than this. I have another palette, but okay, backtrack. So I got my first job back when I was a junior in high school. So I wasn't really making money before that. I was usually using my parents' money or birthday money or whatever money I got from relatives, stuff like that. So I went out and got my first job, and I was like, when I get my first paycheck, the first thing I'm going to do is go to MAC and create a palette. This for me was something that I always wanted to do. I knew I loved makeup. I knew it was something that I was like probably going to pursue at some point in my life. So I remember taking my first paycheck, I went into MAC, and I was like, I want to create a palette. So it's very expensive, and I don't know if I'd recommend it to this day. I mean, there are so many great palettes on the market that are obviously a lot more affordable than creating your own from MAC. I still stand by MAC shadows. I still think they have really great pigmentation. They have a really unique selection of shades. So I'm not bashing this. I honestly use this palette almost every single day I do my eye makeup. I've used it today. I mean, I use it for my brows. I use it for so many different things. But with that being said, it's very expensive. I believe in total it costs like $200 to create a palette. But it's something I did over time. It was something that I looked forward to spending money on, and the reason that I wanted to do this was because I used to love watching Tanya Burr back in the day when she would do like a lot of makeup tutorials, almost like weekly, if not more than like twice a week. She would just create so many tutorials, and she always used MAC eyeshadows. And so for that reason, I loved her so much, and I was like, I need to get them. And so I took a lot of her recommendations and put together a palette that I thought I would get a lot of use out of. So these, of course, are very neutral shadows. I don't know, for me this is like one of my prized possessions. This is something that like I look back and I'm like so proud of. I actually have a lot of MAC products in this video just because MAC was something that was so hyped up back in the day here on YouTube when I first got started. So, but this was a big purchase for me. Speaking of MAC, so this next thing is the MAC 217 brush. Now, if you have never heard of this brush here on YouTube, you probably haven't been on YouTube that long, I would say, because almost everyone used this eyeshadow brush at some point in time. This was like the go-to brush for everything. It's pretty much like a blending brush, but you could use this to pack on eyeshadow, blend, crease. Like, I still use this for everything, although that being said, it is very expensive. I want to say it was like a $27 brush, if not more, if not a little bit less, but it's expensive and it's not that big. As you can see, like, there's not many bristles to it. It is a really good brush, but it does shed. I mean, I feel like there are so many great dupes out there, and one of them I actually will be mentioning in a minute, but I will share with you guys since I brought it up. It's actually from Morphe. This is the Morphe R39, and it's pretty much an exact dupe for the MAC 217. So if you guys want a good, like, dupe, this is a really great brush. But yes, I went out and purchased this brush because everyone had it, and I was like, I obviously need it. But if, you know, it wasn't recommended on YouTube, I definitely would not have forked out the money for this brush, but I bought it because of YouTube. Next up, we have the Anastasia Glow Kit. Now, this is more of like a recent thing. I think this was like a big thing about like a year ago now, maybe a little over a year ago. And everyone was using it. Everybody was about that highlight. If you didn't have Champagne Pop, you pretty much, you know, were using this. And I remember being like, I don't know if I should spend $40 on highlight. Like, it's not really, you know, the biggest part of my makeup look. And I'm someone with oily skin. But I did it. I bought the palette. And I'm so glad that I did because I love this. I still use it to this day. I have the That Glow one, which is more of like the golden one. It's so, so beautiful. The only shade I don't really get used out of is the darkest one, but the other three right here are so pretty. It's actually what I'm wearing today as my highlight, and I love it. It's so good. Do you guys recognize this over here? This is the Wet n Wild Comfort Zone palette, and okay, again, back in the day, everyone had this palette. Everyone was using this palette. Everyone was obsessed with Wet n Wild eyeshadows, and for good reason. They are so pigmented, they're so creamy, and they are so affordable. Like, this palette is $5. I'm pretty sure it's a $5 palette, and you get 8 shadows. I actually depotted one of them, which is the eyeshadow that's the dupe for the Blue Brown pigment from MAC, and I love that shade, so I depotted it. But to be honest with you guys, I don't really use this palette very often. I don't wear greens, and the palette is all shimmer. There really is no matte, so for that reason I don't reach for it. But that's not to say it's not really good quality. I don't think that you shouldn't get it because there is no matte, because it is super affordable. There are really pretty shades in here. You definitely could create a look using this. I think the pigmentation is beautiful. I just don't reach for it often, like I said, because there is no matte, but it's great, and this was so popular back in the day. One last palette, I promise. So this is actually newer to me, but I had to get it just because so many people like hyped this palette up so much, and for so long you couldn't even get your hands on it because it was so hyped up. But I did get this recently over the weekend. It is the Morphe 350 palette, and it's actually what I'm wearing on my eyes today. I'm obsessed. So you get 35 shades in here, which is awesome, and you get mattes, you get shimmers. It's the best of both worlds. It's so pretty. Every eyeshadow I'm wearing, except for my like inner corner highlight, which is from my MAC palette, is from this palette. It's so pretty. If you guys want me to do a tutorial, let me know. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. I'm so glad that I bought it. I'm so glad it was hyped up. I mean, not in the sense that it took me like, what, a year to go out and buy this, but it's good and it's super affordable. Next up, we have the NYX Soft Matte Liquid Creams. These, again, were like OG YouTube. Like, everyone had these back in the day. I remember people would go to IMATS to get these. I actually got one of mine at IMATS, and I only have 3 of them. I think that they're nice, but they're definitely not something that I reach for all the time. It's like more of a specific type of look. These were like the biggest thing before liquid lipsticks came out, and they definitely are by no means a liquid lipstick. They are a lip cream. They're basically like a creamy matte lipstick. I don't know how to describe it. They do dry down. The only thing is they don't last very long, like they do fade, and so for that reason you do have to reapply them. They can be slightly drying, but the shades are so pretty. My favorite one for sure is called Milan. The packaging is not what it actually looks like, so just a little warning. It's like a really pretty, vibrant pink color, and I love this when I want to look like super girly. So I love that. And then I also have Abu Dhabi, which is like a pretty nude, and then Cane's, which is more of like that Kylie Jenner lip color that everyone wanted like a year ago. So I love these. I think they're good. I don't reach for them like too often, but when I'm in the mood for them, I do like them a lot, and this was definitely like something YouTube made me go buy. Okay, back on the MAC train. This is from MAC. This is their Pro Longwear Concealer. Everyone used this back in the day, guys. This was like the only concealer on the market, I want to say. Like, I remember Casey Holmes used this all the time, and like a lot of people would use this not only as concealer, but mostly as like an eye primer. And this stuff is like paint. It doesn't come off. And like once you put it on, it dries, so it dries really fast. I like to save this for like special occasions because it does last very long, and it definitely has a lot of coverage. I actually use this on my prom day, but it is a great product, and this was like the end all again be all here on YouTube back in the day. This right here is the MAC Fix Plus. I'm sure you guys have all heard this, you've all seen it, you probably own it, and that's because of YouTube, right? I mean, honestly, I don't even know if I know what this was if it weren't for YouTube. For me, I don't really use this. I only use this to dampen my brush to like create more foiled looks with eyeshadows. For me, this doesn't really do much if I set my face. It doesn't like keep my makeup lasting longer. I do see maybe if like it blends powders into your skin and makes them look a little bit more natural. But I mean, I like it. I don't like love it though, if you know what I'm saying. So, but it's good. It's okay. Okay, so this lipstick, guys. This lipstick brings back so many memories. So back with that Naked palette, this was my, again, like one of my first high-end purchases. This was actually my first MAC purchase. And if you watched, like I said, YouTube back in the day, MAC was like the end-all be-all brand. Like if you didn't use MAC, you were not cool. If you made YouTube videos and you didn't have a MAC product, you were not cool. No one would watch your videos, pretty much. Everyone was obsessed with MAC's Angel lipstick. I remember Megan Hart's makeup. I don't know if that's her username anymore. I think it's Megan Parker. But I used to love her back in the day. She was pretty much like a Bethany Moda back in the day, and she's still really popular, and she does more like advice videos now, which I love. But she used to do makeup videos, and she was obsessed with this lipstick, and so I went out and bought it, and it does not work for me. It's like a really pale pink color. It's like a baby pink, and first off, oh, MAC lipsticks smell so good. They smell like vanilla. The shade was too light for me. I'm definitely more of an olive tone. I keep this just for the sake that like memories, if you know what I mean. Like, oh my gosh, guys, this brings back so many memories. Again, I bought this on a school trip. I remember I was on a school trip and I was like, I'm going to the MAC counter and I'm buying this. I also bought All That Glitters eyeshadow, which was in my palette. I should have said it. And I remember Elle Fowler was like, that was her username, I'm pretty sure. She loved that shade. Everyone loved that shade. So I picked up this and that, and I love both. And then last but not least, I wanted to include Morphe Brushes. Sure, all of you who are watching my video know what these are, because these recently have like taken over the YouTube community. Everyone uses Morphe Brushes. I feel like if you don't use Morphe Brushes, you're not cool now on YouTube. And so I actually picked them up over the weekend, and I've used them today for my entire look. I think that they are such good quality, they're very affordable, and they are talked about for good reason. I mean, they are good brushes. So I just wanted to mention the ones I have because I do really love all of them. This first one is the Morphe R4. It's just like an angled blush brush. I really like that. I also have the R37, which is a really good blending brush. It's not too fat, if that makes any sense, so you can easily like get into that crease area and just blend everything. And then I also picked up the R31, which is like a really nice highlighting brush. If you want something that's going to pack a punch, really pick up a lot of product and deposit, this is a good one. It really hits that like cheekbone really nice. So this is what I've been using for highlight, and I love it. And then like I said, I have the R39, which is the exact dupe for like the MAC 217. So love these. So that's everything I have to share about the YouTube Makes Me Buy It. If you guys, like I said, have bought products that I've mentioned because of YouTube, let me know, because I love watching these videos, and I was like, I need to make one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.